Okay, in case you're missing why this Charlie Kirk assassination is so biblical. Okay, the guy was good at explaining morality. Okay, people have been feigning confusion about morality ever since the fall of man. Now, mankind is in a state of contradiction, shooting himself in the foot all the time. A sophisticated entity cannot rise to what we've risen to as a species, having been in contradiction at its inception, at the inception of mankind. If the proposition of man was contradictory, we could not have even risen to this level. So we acquired craziness at some point. We acquired a mental process that copes with stresses in a way to reify problems. We recirculate problems instead of seeing our way through problems to where the problem is at least not given to our offspring, right? We don't have the right philosophies about solving problems. We are unable to understand the best way to cope with being human and all the desires and urges that come along with being human. Now, we have the name Satan for the entity that has some vested interest in perpetuating our state of confusion. Now, Satan is an actual spiritual entity. It is an actual spiritual mental shape or pattern of thinking that is vain. It likes itself, and it wants to perpetuate itself. Okay, it doesn't want to be washed out of the human mind and culture and conversation. It wants to remain plausible. Now, here's the thing. Charlie Kirk was a person who dispelled a lot of the best practices of demons. He would ridicule a lot of, like, they get angry on cue. They point the finger at, they scapegoat on cue. They have all these kinds of philosophies on how to deal with their enemies who aren't enemies in the first place. Their enemies are people of truth. Their enemies actually show, the worst thing their enemies do is show that their lifestyle and their coping schedule or their coping menu of tactics is actually not so smart. It actually doesn't bring about better results, right? So got to get rid of them, because vanity doesn't allow you to get proven to be a fool, right? But the enemy of the left are always these truth tellers who, instead of taking away the left's ability to do the stupid shit that they want to do, they take away, the right is constantly taking away the left's ability to do it while feeling that nobody's ridiculing them while they do it. Now, what would make people ridicule the left when the left does leftist shit? It's the truth. The truth shows that leftism is not the best way to cope with human pressures. Okay? It is not the best way to have killing fields. It is not the best way to criminalize the rich for the crime of being successful. Like, when you point out that this shit doesn't work, you make them, practitioners of these tactics, look like fools. And they not only want to be foolish and cope in their coping tradition, they want to cope that way, but they don't want to feel like fools doing it. They don't want to feel naked in front of the world doing that kind of thing. So Charlie Kirk totally, messed that up. And people who can articulate moral behavior and why some behaviors are better than others. Okay, so that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the essential lie entity called the original Satan, not wanting us to supersede or go beyond his school of thought. Once we go beyond his school of thought, how many people are there that's going to be sympathetic to him manifesting his coping skills if all those things have been ridiculed? That is the day that Satan is in a bottomless pit, because the bottomless pit refers to he can't sell leftism, or he can't sell Cainism. Okay, he can't sell Cainism. What's under assault now because they shot Charlie Kirk? Cainism. People are mortified when they saw Cain kill Abel. Cainism is under a microscope now. Anyway, I really didn't want to talk about Cainism. Cain did not like the truth that Abel's way of doing things was favorable to God. In other words, It was more beneficial than his way. Okay, he didn't change his philosophy to fit Abel's superior philosophy. He just killed Abel. So he has a bad philosophy and he's proud of it. Okay, that is classic Satan. He has a bad philosophy. It doesn't bring out the best results, but he's proud of it because it's his. Okay, so it's sort of like how Edison ridiculed Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla had invented alternating current. It was so superior that we still use it today. We use it today. We do not use Thomas Edison's direct current because it caused more fires. That didn't stop Edison from trying to disappear Tesla, ridicule him out of the public square. That's Cainism, okay? Why? Why are we Cain? Because of ego. And what's this whole fight over? Free speech? Let me tell you about free speech. Free speech really is about the best ideas like cream rising to the top. But we already know that Cainism doesn't like the best ideas rising to the top. Because when the day comes that better ideas seem to ridicule his ideas, he would rather kill the messenger and keep mankind in darkness rather than to find those better ways of being. Classic Satan. And that's why Satan does not like free speech. Does not.